moving into our fourth color determination. Now the key word here is touch. Now if we have a left-oriented brain, we have somebody who needs calm touch. Now if we have a right-oriented brain, we have someone who needs nervous touch. Touch is the word that stays the same. Calm or nervous is either the left or right expression of it. Now determination follows the hexagram structure the same way that profile does. And we're talking about a fourth color determination. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're here at our fourth color determination, but just like the hexagram follows the profile lines, you can attach keynotes from the fourth profile line over to the fourth color determination. Now the fourth profile is the networker opportunist, and I want you to think about all fourth lines being kind of interconnected to each other. They're not all interconnected to each other. Definitely not. You have, like, there are singular networks. Within the network, though, the people are connected, the people are established. Really, connection is the word that I'm pulling at here. Whether it is calm touch or nervous touch, I want you to think about the nervous system. I want you to think about neural pathways. I want you to think about the connection of things firing, synapses firing from one end to the other. And I want you to bring in the word stimulation. Calm, nervous, connection, synapses, stimulation. The person who is meant to eat calm is meant to be in an unstimulated environment. The person who is meant to eat nervous is meant to be in a stimulated environment. Now, the difference between these is left and right. Left-oriented, calm, means that the cognition or the tonal level is 1, 2, or 3. Nervous means that the cognition or the tonal level is 4, 5, or 6. A left, calm, active brain requires more calories and next to no fasting, whereas a nervous, right passive brain is going to require a lower caloric intake and a little bit of fasting. Now the determinations, first, second, and third color, they are much more about the ingredients, whereas 4, 5, and 6 are about circumstance. So when we're talking about ways that this diet type presents, we're looking at the circumstances it's showing up in versus what specific ingredient food item is it showing up with. Now we talked about touch and we talked about stimulation. So the fourth color determination is much more about the circumstance than it is about the ingredient. And the circumstance requires the person to either be calm while they eat or stimulated. When we say nervous, we don't mean that this person is feeling fearful when they eat. It's much more an acknowledgement of the nervous system, of the stimulation that is required. Now, from almost like a personality place, if you're looking at someone who has calm determination, this is someone who has a tendency to present as more controlling. They're trying to control the environment so that it stays calm. This might be the dad that yells at the table like, everybody be quiet, you know? Table manners. Table manners would be so important to someone who is a calm determination. Whereas when we move into nervous determination, this is somebody where other people assume that they need to be controlled, okay? This is the kid who is constantly trying to leave the table. They want to, an adult going through the drive-thru. This is the person walking around. They're on the phone while they're eating. In many ways, it almost seems like the food is an afterthought. They're busy moving around, and that's how they extract what they need from their food. We're still talking about how to pull the nutrients from the ingredients that we're eating, But when you're in the 4, 5, or 6 color for determination, the circumstance is much more important. It's the starting place. While the calm person needs minimal stimulation, the nervous person requires a lot of stimulation. Now, what would it look like if a 4th color determination is experiencing disordered eating? First step is if they are left-oriented and they're eating infrequently. If you're a left person and you're not taking in enough calories or you're not eating consistently enough, you're not feeding your brain appropriately. First sign of disordered eating. Same for its opposite. If you have a right brain and you're eating too much or too frequently, that's the first sign of our disordered eating. Also, doing this outside of strategy and authority. If you're doing this from a mental place, if you tell yourself, okay, I can't eat this until I have an activity that I could be busy in, that's very much coming from the mind and won't happen naturally, organically. This would be a good time to make a joke about how organic is better when it comes to food, but that's just a joke. Now, I believe that if the 4th color determination is experiencing disordered eating, it is likely the result of conditioning in terms of behavior from a caregiver. Let's say you have a nervous determination kid who needs to be stimulated while they eat, and how that ends up presenting is a kid who can't sit still. Now, in the world that we live in, a kid that can't sit still is often seen as wrong, unregulated, that they don't have the mental ability to override that and be like, be still, you know? Like there is a really good likelihood that the caregivers are going to try and medicate the kids into a different kind of behavior. Maybe you have a calm child that presents as getting really overwhelmed in typical food scenarios. The calm kid is not going to want to grow up in a household with a bunch of siblings. They're not going to be good people in a restaurant like this. They need a controlled, unstimulating environment. When they act out or when they act like themselves, people are likely going to try and medicate them in order to get them, what's the word? To be more, not docile, but to be more like agreeable, to make it easier to condition them. 4th color determination is going to look like a kid that has behavioral issues in comparison to all of the other types of determination. This is one of the ones where I think being very, like this is a great one to be aware of. Our society is very, very fast to medicate things that feel abnormal or challenging. Sometimes I'm not really sure what's going to come out, and then it comes out and I'm like, yeah. And how did I not think of that before? How did I not have that awareness before? How did I not realize that? 4th color determination kids are going to be very quickly medicated by their caregivers. Whew, whew, whew. Okay, I want to play a little bit differently with this one in terms of strategy. You know, if I have a sacral being, instead of saying, would you like to try and eat according to your determination? I would like to be significantly more specific. Like, when you're eating, would you like it to be calm or would you like to be stimulated? You know, let's give them this or that. Let's give more options. Let's be more specific. Now, a projector, again, we might say, I notice this about you. I recognize this habit that you have. I notice how you seem to get bitter in this situation. Would you like to try eating this way? Especially if you can tell that a projector is dysregulated. We look very dysregulated very quickly. If it were as simple as food, you know, are you ready to try this? I think that it would be helpful for you to do this. You seem like you'd be really good at this. I heard you talk about this. I recognize that you were asking for this thing. Would you like to try this? Like, we have options to invite the projector into playing with this more specifically. And I'm starting to feel kind of bad about the manifester one, because as much as y'all got the easiest one, it's not very fun for me to talk about. You want to eat this way? You tell people you want to eat this way. When you decide that this is what you're ready to initiate in your life, you're just gonna let people know. You're gonna inform them so that you can encounter less resistance. And if you're a reflector, take your time. We know that reflectors have the longest process of anyone. You're waiting for the moon. You're waiting to see how you feel through all of these lunar transits. We want you to accumulate really a lot of data before you make a decision. You are not meant to be a spontaneous person at all. Okay, I think I really hit something that feels important to me on the medication part of the conversation. I'm obviously very open to any questions, comments, feedback that you have. However, specifically related to being medicated for either calm or nervous, or having your parents or caregivers assume that you should have been medicated for this, I would really like to have that conversation. You can send me a DM on Instagram at Sam Zagar, or leave it in the comments section.